So today I'm going to show you all how to prep the natural nail for acrylic application. This is also known as a dry manicure. Okay, so what we're looking for is to get rid of all the cuticle that may be on the natural nail plate so that way it doesn't interfere with our adhesion process. What we're going to do first is since you're a beginner, I suggest that you all do this first. I suggest that you take your cuticle pusher, that little thing right there is a cuticle pusher, and you're going to start in the corner of the nail down near the tip of the finger and work your way down to the epinicium and work in a circle pushing back the cuticle. You don't want to spend too much time doing this on the natural nail. You don't want to put too much pressure. You want to be as light as possible. But what you're doing is removing what we call cuticle off of the natural nail plate. And you want to do every finger as such. You don't want to spend too much time doing this. Like I say, you don't want to use too much pressure when you are doing this on the natural nail plate. You don't want to injure your client. And make sure your cuticle pusher doesn't have any sharp edges, because if it does have sharp edges, you could puncture your client's epinicium. Okay, now all of this is going to help with the adhesion process. All right, so here at this point, if your client has natural nails that are far past the tip of the finger, you do want to cut the natural nail down where it's even or a little bit below the tip of the finger. I always file the client's fingernails in a rounded shape. And the reason why I do this is so that way when the natural nail starts to grow, it doesn't grow outside of the acrylic, causing the natural nail to come away from the acrylic faster than it should. Okay, because the acrylic is going to just move up, but the natural nail is going to grow back into its natural shape. So it could separate from the acrylic if it's not properly sealed, or the shape of the natural nail just outgrows the acrylic that you place on the client's finger. All right, so at this point, we're going to use our sanding band. The sanding band that we're going to use is going to be a fine grit sanding band to place on the natural nail. Now, that e-file that we have there, that is a Melody Susie. It's the Scamander. I do recommend that one for beginner nail techs or even seasoned nail techs. It is a good, friendly budget e-file, and they do come with a warranty. Melody Susie is real good about replacing it if it has any defects or anything like that. The sanding band that we're using, it is a medium or a fine grit sanding band. Medium and fine grit is safer for the natural nail plate, so that way it doesn't cause too much damage. You never want to use a coarse sanding band on your client's natural nail. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the client's finger back. I'm going to hold the client's finger in a pinch mode, and I'm going to expose nothing but the natural nail plate. And let me back up. If you are left-handed, your e-file should be in reverse. If you are right-handed, your e-file should always be in forward. For one, you crank it up. You don't want to be working opposite of the way the sanding band is turning. Make sure your left hand, you're in reverse. If you're right-handed, if you're using your right hand, you're in forward. We're going to pinch back the natural nail, and we're going to get in there, and we're just going to remove any excess cuticle that might be on the nail that didn't come up from us pushing. And we're going to kind of slightly remove the shine off of the natural nail. And I'm doing this, I'm starting at the tip of the natural nail, and I'm working around towards the bottom of the fingernail, the cuticle, the epinicium area, not running over the epinicium, but getting as close as possible so that way I can remove any product or any cuticle that could potentially interfere with my adhesion process. You don't want to spend too much time sanding on the natural nail. You want to get in there and you want to do it as quick as possible. Once you go over the natural nail with the sanding band, it should give you this dry, dusty look. And that's what we're going for. That way, when we place our acrylic, it has a it's like sucking down, it locking into that natural nail plate to keep my client from having to come back from nails lifting or potentially popping off. At the same time, you're removing cuticle oil or anything that may have been built up on the natural nail plate. Preparing my natural nail plate for adhesion. And I'm using quick strokes. I'm not holding that e-file down on that nail in one position, because if you do, you're going to cause your client to burn. Okay, so if you're going in one direction, if you're right-handed and you're going towards the left, when you go back towards the right, you need to lift your e-file up. Always make sure you don't just leave applying too much pressure to your client's natural nail with the e-file. Now again, this is your sanding band that I'm taking off. That silver part right there is going to be called a mandrel. They usually come standard with an e-file, but that sanding band sleeve sometimes is a little hard to get off. Only thing you need to do is take some cuticle nippers and grab it at the little seam and snatch it right off. And I like to use a nylon brush to help remove any dust, any residue, any particles that may be in the cracks of the fingernails, to keep my client from getting any type of product that may interfere with the adhesion process. Now here I see a little bit of cuticle. You can clip cuticle right now at the beginning, or you can wait to clip your cuticle after you do your application. But I'm doing this all dry. You want to make sure you're not digging in too close, but you want to make sure it's nothing that could interfere with your adhesion product before you lay your acrylic down. I'm dusting again here, just making sure that nail is completely clear. Now at this point too, you also can come in with alcohol, or you can use acetone to remove any residue before you get ready to put your tips on. Again, this is just your basic nail prep or dry manicure. I hope this helped. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.